Crazy John's Wacky House of Supercars.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't even notice that.
Is this another Japanese car?
No, this is actually from Australia. This is the only black Diablo SVR that was produced in period by the factory. We were actually planning to restore another Diablo SVR for a very good friend out of the Middle East who has a fantastic collection of black Diablos, and he had always wanted an SVR, and then we sold him an SVR. It's about to go to Italy for a restoration, and guess what? This car becomes available. This car has been restored. It was actually restored, I believe, by the Lamborghini dealer in Australia. So I was like, okay, this is your car, brother. It was originally black. Very, very excited for him. This is the first time we see this car. We had a ton of delays in shipping. I feel so bad because I kept promising him it was arriving. It's just one of, unfortunately, the downsides of our business is we're moving around all these incredible assets, sensitive assets, and listen, it takes time. You have delays, there are issues that happen, but it's super cool to have this car here.
These cars are super cool. I think they were in a weird place in history where they were kind of these forgotten about race cars for a long time, where people didn't really know what to do with them. And now with the expansion and the growth of the mark, and then places where you can run them and use them, they're starting to see a resurgence that they are really, really, really important race cars when they had their own spec racing series. So to see these cars come out of the woodwork and get ran is really cool.
One day we're going to look back on moments like these. A car like a Diablo SVR, we've been fortunate enough to sell 4 of these examples. Actually, ironically, we have very few clients in Florida or Miami, and I think there'll probably be 3 in Miami that we've sold, which is pretty cool. You know, think of this as a factory car, all numbered, number 16 of 32 cars that were produced. So one day we're gonna look back on moments like these and really say, wow, what a special time. But yeah, it's super cool to see it here. We're gonna do a bunch of little refinements and details, things that need to be perfected on the car. This was actually how it raced in period in Australia, but I'd love to remove the graphics, clean the car up, do a complete paint correction, but the car looks fantastic. You know, these cars arrive and they go so often. I don't think we're ever jaded. Every moment when a new car arrives, it's an exciting moment. And we had a bunch of new cars arrive, some that I've actually never driven before, some that I've never really spent time before. So over the years, we've had a few really incredible Daytonas. This would have to be probably the best. We've done a ton of research on this car. We pulled a Massini report, which, if you don't know who Marcel Massini is, he's one of the greatest Ferrari historians of all time. It's one of the 121 cars for the world that were produced by Ferrari as a factory Spyder. There were conversions, a ton of conversions done later. Over the last year, these cars have exploded. There's transactions between 3 million and 3.5 million. So they're very, very hot right now. This car came to us from a great collector, and digging into its history, it's just so great. It spent its life in Chicago with one collector, Mr. Gross, originally delivered there in 1971. 40 years spent with him, original paint, original interior, and then in 2011 it was restored. An incredible job on the restoration. This is a platinum level concours restoration. These are not its original wheels. These are the would have been an option, the Barani wheels, a period correct from Ferrari. But this is super cool to have here. One of the greatest and most iconic vintage Ferraris of its time. You know, we're always moving around inventory in different pieces. It's funny, we haven't had a lot of Ford GTs. This is one of my favorite cars all around to drive, to own. I think there's an incredible value in these cars. Manual transmission. You know, when I first drove one years ago when they were brand new, I remember I fell in love with the way it drove. And yes, they produced a lot, almost over 3,000 cars, I believe, between 05 and 06. Striped delete was more of a rare thing. But to me, this is the car to own. 343 produced for the world. This is a 700-mile car. I would love to take this for a little drive later just because I love these cars. And I think these cars have so much value when you look at the pricing of the new Ford GTs, which is an incredible car. But to me, it just doesn't do the same thing as the 05, 06. So I think these cars are just super cool. They're usable, they're functional, they do everything right. And it's really cool to have this here. I'm always open to purchasing more heritage Ford GTs from 06. And actually something I learned recently, this was actually a $13,000 option, the heritage package. So just a livery package, but super cool. And you guys were lucky enough to join Herschel and Sergio in their European travels. We cannot forget the 900-mile 288 GTO. This car in person is just so cool to see, and you just see what the original features of a GTO, the interior. You know, we've had a few that were restored, and you can see how the interior was different. And this car will go down. You know, this is another one of those cars that, you know, we never get jaded. There's always interesting pieces, and every day is like surreal being here and working around these cars. But again, Ferrari, you know, of the major supercars, the most rare, besides the LaFerrari Aperta, is the 288 GTO example. And then I think we have to talk about this. This is a car that I wasn't originally in love with. I drove it for the first time yesterday. I've never driven an LFA, and this is just so cool. I've had to really learn about these cars, and I think this is the last generation of cars that we will get into. Cars like the 918, LaFerrari. You won't see us selling electric cars here ever. I think this is the last sort of generation of cars we'll get into. 500 produced for the world. The amount of R&D and investment that went into this car, from the V10 engine, these cars were hand built. Carbon fiber, you know, when you drive this car, you understand just why it's so special. And actually, more importantly, when you hear this car, you understand just why it's so special. There was a lot of cars left unsold for many years. You know, and these cars struggled to sell between 200 and 400,000 for years. And then today, I mean, they've just done extremely well. Transactions between, you know, 800,000, 900,000. The Nürburgring cars are bringing anywhere from 1.3 to 1.5. I think there was a couple transactions around 1.6.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's one, obviously the brand. You know, it doesn't have, you know, if this car had a Ferrari badge or Porsche badge, it'd be a different story, especially talking in limited production. And I think the car was misunderstood. And let's face it, the design is very, I would say it's sort of sleek. It's very cool. It's very Japanese, but it isn't as, you know, shocking or wild as a Carrera GT. It's on the level of everything from Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini of the same period, but I think misunderstood brand. I also think people don't always remember the importance of Toyota in the racing world. Toyota Motorsports, look, just last week at Le Mans, you know, their placement, and historically, you know, how much is invested into motorsport. So again, this was definitely, I think, a passion project for them. And that's what makes these cars special today, I think, looking forward into the future. This is actually the first LFA we've ever purchased. Hopefully it won't be the last. And it's cool to see these sort of modern classics as Curated expands its future and different things we're doing. We're looking at cars like this, obviously heritage Ford GTs, and other interesting cars of the next generation. Very soon, maybe next week or the week after, we have what I believe is one of the more exciting pieces of history that we've ever had at Curated. So stay tuned. It's coming up. Don't forget to subscribe because you guys do not want to miss this one.
Yeah, we actually already finished today's video, but I guess not anymore.
Not anymore. We got a new surprise coming in for you. This is one of the famous cars featuring the double spoiler that was introduced by the gentleman by the name of Yazrawala, made famous by the Cannonball Run cars. This car will eventually be going back to its original one-of-one specification of bronzo on bianco leather. So there's some famous period photos that John has found of this car in its original color, and some ways you can tell that it's the correct car is the front bumper is actually cut down in a unique way. Because the car was so low, these cars were famously just ripping the front bumpers off.
What are we doing?
We're gonna go mess with John. We're gonna convince him that the car came with a 350 block from a Chevy. He swapped that for a 350 Chevy block.
What?
The low body.
No, they didn't shop this up. No. I'll kill you guys. Where is it?
That's right.
We open it up, I'm like,
You really tried. Come on. Wow, the paint is nice.
I didn't know this had the Murcielago SV interior package.
No, the body work is really nice.
No, I saw that. Like that was straight and true.
What do you guys think? Cool car. Wow, Motor Cars International, 1996.
Motor cars had this?
Wow, look at all these old files. Look at this, Lamborghini Club America.
He needs everything, but the bones are here.
What's in here, Sean?
We got the rest of the interior. And it's stinky.
Oh, there's the mirrors. Original flag mirror. Oh, there you go. More interior. Oh, there's your white leather. Hey,
Well, at least
Steven.
he thought to keep the original parts.
Oh. There we go.
Steering wheel, center caps. Old. Wow, look at that. Brand new. Dude, look at the color.
It's like garnet red copper.
It's like copper.
You found a bit of color?
Yeah. You can see it right there. I think he divorced his wife, but she came from a famous family. He then opened a rental car company in Hawaii. This was one of the rental cars. No. And then, for some reason, this was back and forth between Hawaii and Michigan. And then he got in trouble for something, went to jail. It's like a crazy story.
That's cool.
And it was his forever. It just was shoved away. The last time it was seen publicly was '87.
Wow.
Yeah. It hasn't been seen since. So we thought it was destroyed, and then the guy actually reached out to Ed Bolian, and then I tried to buy it, and then I thought we had a deal, and then the guy disappeared, and then another dealer got it, sold it to this guy, and then he wanted to restore it, and then we negotiated it in a deal. I was like, I really want that car.